News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Hour number 3. My goodness, time's flying. Having a great time with you guys tonight as well. Here's the top 10 most offensive things you can do at a dinner. That you can do at a restaurant. Number 1, don't pay for a dish. Try not to pay for a dish, or say you won't pay for a dish, I should say. But you ate the whole thing? Yeah. A law professor at Loyola University says that's illegal. Now, if you have partially eaten it, that's different. So what I do is I'll eat half of it, or maybe even 3/4 and go, you know what? But I don't play a game like that 99% of the time. I don't do any games. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'll eat it. It's not too bad, but this is not right, so I'll get my money back. But I don't. It's probably less than once a year I even do that. I don't. Maybe once every 5 years. I don't know. I've done it before. But another one, allowing your child to roam freely, debating menu prices, stay past restaurants' closing time. You got to play that song, closing time. That's a great song. Okay, Michael in Austin's called in at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227, asking you what the most offensive things you've seen customers do at a restaurant. Hey, Michael, you're on the Chris Crock Show. How are you? Out of Austin, Texas, y'all.
Hello, Chris.
Hello.
I enjoy your show very much.
Thank you. I love Austin. I do. I lived there for a couple of years in the late 90s with my beautiful wife.
Oh, great. Now, it seems that me and some ladies were at this place, and we had one of them fall off our bar stool because he lost her balance, and they cut us off, and we ran up an $80 tab, and I didn't leave a tip.
Wait, say it again. What happened?
Okay. We're at a bar in Austin, and one of the ladies that is with us lost her balance and fell off the stool, so they cut us off.
Okay, yeah.
And I paid the tab, but I didn't leave them a tip.
So they cut you off thinking you guys were over the limit of like, and then you were like intoxicated, which means you can't serve somebody by law. It's visibly intoxicated, obviously. But you're saying you weren't, go ahead.
No, we weren't. It just looked like we were because that woman fell off the bar stool.
Man, so you decided. So when he said sorry, you're cut off, no more. You paid you said you got to go, right? Or did he say you had to leave, or just that he wouldn't tip you, wouldn't serve you anymore?
They wouldn't serve us anymore.
Okay, yeah. So you're like, you were offended, and so therefore you said, fine, I'm out. You paid your tab, and you wouldn't give him a tip.
Right.
Did you tell him? Was it a him or a her?
It was him.
Did you tell him, hey, dude, we're not drunk. She just fell off the bar stool?
Nope, they just said it, and arguing with him would have been a waste of time.
Okay. Well, that's your decision. I don't have a problem with that. If he offended you and it was something that is reasonable to be offended to, then, offended by, then so be it. And I can't fault you. I mean, it doesn't matter if you were drinking alcohol or whether you were, getting something from the all-you-can-eat bar and they allege that you're putting something on somebody's plates that's not true and you're offended by it. Well, then, yeah, pay your tab and get out. So I guess good for you, huh?
Hey, I got one more thing to tell you here, Chris.
Yes.
There's a website store called GunShowTees.com. GunShowTees, TEES.com, and there is a product there just for you.
Let's see what this is. All right, I'm going to look at this.
You want to talk to somebody else?
Let's see what it is. Let's see. Okay, yeah, there's some stuff that's interesting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Was he trying to plug his website or something? I don't know. Okay. Let's move on, shall we? Okay. Wells Fargo fires employees for, quote, simulation of keyboard activity. Wells Fargo, this is from Axios. Wells Fargo fired more than a dozen employees for simulation of a keyboard activity. What does that mean? They didn't say whether the employees from or how. Let me go back a sec. Major employers, Axios says, using surveillance tools to ensure no matter where people are, where they work at, they're at their computers. Polls suggest doing so is risky to morale. So I guess they're monitoring your computer, and if nothing's going on for a while, then you get in trouble because you're not doing work, they're alleging. So they're not saying whether the employees were working remotely or how they were faking their, quote, impression of active work, Bloomberg reports. Wells Fargo said the bank holds employees with the highest standards, does not tolerate unethical behavior, declined to comment any further. Wells Fargo, like many others, are trying to get people back into the office. Most turned up at least 3 days a week, they say. But these are, quote, here, they say the prevalence of cheap tools like mouse jigglers to simulate activity. Have you heard of this? A mouse jiggler? Wait a minute. Like on an Xbox controller? What is that? This makes me think, all right, I'm going to look up what a mouse jiggler is, because is that something you put the mouse in to make it move around so that your employer thinks you're doing something? Okay, here, I typed in mouse and then jiggler came up. What is an undetectable mouse mover that keeps your computer active without having to touch the mouse? Oh, wow. There's no law against using a mouse jiggler. So you put it on top of a thing, and then it moves the mouse around as if you're sliding it around working. Oh, my gosh, this is deep. Did you guys know this exists? Talking to my newsman and my producer. Did you guys know these exist? Have you heard of this? Doesn't surprise you, but I've never heard of it. A mouse jiggler. Sounds like something untoward that you have to pay money for on the streets or something in the red light district. Anyway, the use of surveillance tools poses a risk at a time when it's getting harder for workers to be happy, says one guy. However, they're doing workplace surveillance software, and that's blown up during the COVID pandemic, they say. So here's my question for you. Is this a deal breaker? Are you okay with your employer secretly monitoring your computer to make sure you're working and firing you if you're not being productive? And do you feel you have a right to privacy at work? 800-2, at least on your computer. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. No, I don't think you should be upset they're secretly monitoring you. It's their computer. It's your job. And if it's not their computer, it's your computer, but you're doing work for them and they're paying you on it, I really don't have a problem with it. And I would assume this is for your work computer, not for your personal one, because if you don't mix the two is what I would say. If you do, then they can't have access to your own computer, obviously. So if it's a work computer, I have no issue whatsoever. If you don't like them monitoring your computer, then don't work for them. I literally have no problem with it. Do you? And do you feel you have a right to privacy at work? You don't. Unless you call on your own personal phone and you're not in the office. If you're in the office and somebody hears you, you have no expectation of privacy. If you are on their phone, you have no expectation of privacy. If you are on their computers, you should have no expectation of privacy, and it's not offensive. They have a right to monitor you. If you don't like it, don't work for them. That's what I say. What do you say? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. So no, I don't have a problem with employers like Wells Fargo monitoring your online activity and firing you as they're doing it secretly. Secretly, they're monitoring you and then firing you if you're just not being productive. You don't like it, don't work for them, or you don't like it, then do your job. Do you feel you have a right to privacy at work? That's my other question. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I honestly, I would probably do something like this if I was them and I was concerned. You know what else too? Do you really think they're monitoring people that are high productive, that have high productivity, that they know work hard? They're probably not. I wouldn't. Well, you're wasting your time. If they're productive and they're successful, why even care about it? They're doing it as long as they're not doing anything immoral or unethical. So for that, I wouldn't do anything unless there was allegations about bad stuff. A mouse jiggler, though. Who the heck would have thunk it? All right, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show at News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. A meetup in DFW to buy rare coins ends in theft and a shooting in a mall parking lot. This is what can happen if you buy and sell more expensive things online. I will tell you about this, and I have so many thoughts on this because it involves firearms being shot and so many other things. That's next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Oh, no, I'm so shocked. The Mavs lost tonight. Oh, I'm shocked. But they had such a wonderful victory the other day. How could this be? Oh, they won by 24 points. That was them. Oh, they showed up. They had their A game. You're telling me that the season's over tonight? You're telling me that the Mavericks lost by 18 points? That can't be possible. How did they win by 24 points and then lose by 18 points? What's the spread on that? 42-point spread. Can you tell me how they swung from 42 points from victory to a defeat in one game? I'm not attacking them except for one thing. Not this game. This is what I expected. They just can't beat the Celtics. The last game was an international embarrassment. The last game, not this one tonight that they lost. That's a normal one. That's how they play with the Celtics. They just lose, okay? Obviously. But the previous game where they quote unquote won, got my parenthesis hands up, right? They won, quote unquote. Yeah. That was an international embarrassment. Both the Mavs and the Celtics should be internationally embarrassed for that. That was the most disgraceful game in the world. Look, we won by 24 or 26. Yeah, get out of here. You get a participation trophy. Get out of here. What a joke. And then the Celtics to lose by that. What a joke you guys are. Are they rioting in miserable Boston? They rioting yet? Are they having more riots for St. George Floyd? Blessed be his name. Gosh, I'm so unpositive tonight. Is it a word? I'm whizzing in your Cheerios tonight. All right. Here we go. Meet up to buy rare coins ends in theft and a shooting at the Parks Mall parking lot. Arlington police say. Well, here it is from Fox 4. 6:35 p.m., a man called the cops. He said he'd been robbed and that he shot at the suspect. He was selling rare coins, Fox 4 says, in an online marketplace, agreed to meet a potential buyer in the parking lot near the mall, Parks Mall. He showed the prospective buyer the coins. The guy grabbed them and ran. This guy, the victim, pulled out a gun and shot at the robber running away multiple times. But the robber got into a car and drove away. Cops charged the victim. Yes. The cops charged the victim, the guy who was robbed, with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Why? What do I tell you? I've told you this 1,000 times. You cannot shoot somebody who is running away from the crime after they did it. Because guess what you are now? You're the judge, the jury, and the executioner, and you're sentencing him or her to death. You have become the judicial system, and you are not. You do not get to execute somebody because they stole your coins, and that's what this guy was attempting to do, execute him. Now, maybe you agree that it's punishable by death, and we should just be able to have summary judgment on the scene, and whoever says they've been victimized, you can just shoot and kill the person. Maybe you want that. But that's not how the law is in Texas and in the U.S., so it is what it is. And this guy is a complete idiot. I'm sorry that he got robbed, but listen, he's a complete idiot. He's a fool who has no business having a gun and should never be allowed to have a gun legally because he's an idiot. He's an absolute moron. He doesn't know anything about law. He's got a deadly weapon in his hand, and he doesn't know anything about the law, any basics. You're a moron. If you were to chase the guy and then he turns around and produces a weapon, then you can shoot him. But if he's running, you can't shoot anybody. Well, Chris, I'm Sheriff Bob, and I'm the Texas Supreme Court, and we've sentenced him to death. Oh, okay. Good luck with that. So aggravated assault with a deadly weapon is a precursor to murder. There's nothing between murder and that. He's charged with that, rightfully so, because the buyer didn't appear armed, and nor did he threaten the seller. So a man matching the description, Fox 4 says, of the buyer was taken into a Fort Worth hospital. Multiple gunshot wounds. Shocker. That man's been suffering. He's booked. He suffered non-life-threatening injuries. He was booked. He will be booked into jail on one count of theft from a person. So the guy that was robbed is going to jail for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He will. Now, granted, he probably won't get 6 years. He'll probably get a couple months. A slap on the wrist, but that's a serious felony. All right, so my questions for you on this, and I'm going to give you my advice too, by all means, because this is what this is about, is us sharing with each other wisdom, advice, and experience, good, bad, and ugly. My question is, what are the do's and don'ts that you use when selling stuff online? What are the do's and the don'ts that you use when you sell stuff online, or your spouse, like mine? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Number one, if it's worth that kind of money, I tell my wife, meet him in a police station parking lot. You will never have a problem doing that. And the cops are openly tell you, yes, use our lot. Number two, many police departments in the Metroplex, not all of them, many of them actually have spots labeled in their parking lots by the entrance to the police station for these transactions. But even if they don't, it doesn't matter. Just pull up there. There's spaces for you and I to park, whether it's to take care of a parking ticket or to report something or whatever. Go there and use your darn city. And if it's 20 minutes away, then do it. If it's a pain in the butt, do it. Unless you want to be this guy chasing somebody down who stole your stuff. So that's it right there. That's the advice. We do have, and plus your call, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. What are the do's and the don'ts that you use when selling stuff online? Another one is you have two people. My son would go with my wife a lot when I couldn't. That way, there's a grown young adult with her, so it's more safe. And I've been trying to get her to carry, but she doesn't want to do it. So, and you can't make somebody do it. But I keep gently asking her from time to time. So, anyways, that would be another thing, but it doesn't mean it's going to stop a robbery. All right, coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. Have you ever gone cow tipping? Have you heard of it? Okay, I did. And it wasn't a good experience. I'll say that. I'll tell you the rest of it next. But could it possibly end up being deadly? Well, a cow did end up killing somebody. One cow. I will tell you how and what happened. It just happened. Coming up next on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. New York woman, 28, dies after being attacked by a cow. Now, she was not cow tipping, but a cow killed her. If a cow can kill a woman who was tending to a newborn calf, she's still a full-grown woman, right? I mean, she's not. If it can kill a woman, then certainly it could kill one of us when we were cow tipping, couldn't it? That thought crossed my mind. I'll give you the details on this in a second, then I'll tell you about my thing. But actually, no, I'll tell you right now. So I've not tried to cow tip I was like probably between 18 and 22 or something like that. I was a punk. We were doing dumb things. We didn't mean any harm to anybody. It was just, nor to the animals. It's just trying to cow tip. You hear about it for all these years. And then we're a bunch of stupid guys gathered around a campfire in Wisconsin, an hour and a half north from where we're from in Chicago, camping for the weekend. And we're like, hey, and one of these forest preserve, or what do they call it, state parks or something. And so we're like, hey, let's go find one of these farms, which are everywhere in Wisconsin outside of cities. And let's do some cow tipping. So we parked the car on a rural route, 2 blocks down from where the farm is or whatever. Then we walk all the way down there, in the middle of the night, like Beavis and Butthead. And where are my little Beavis and Butthead? There they are. There we are. Yeah. So we parked the car. I had my stick. Stealth escort, we call it. We call it the stealth escort. Okay, and we park it. I got the emergency brake on. The clutch is in, whatever, it's in neutral, whatever, right? It's a stick shift, because I was a real young man at that time, not one of these little wimps who needs automatic. And I used to smoke back then, so you can imagine smoking and drinking coffee and driving a stick shift. Absolutely, that was me. So we park at a block or two up the street. We're walking. We walk down the rural route, and then we get between these. There's some electric fences, obviously, right? So we avoided that, and we squeeze in between the lines and get over there. And then there's a bunch of there's probably 50 cows. I have no idea, 100 cows. And so as we approach, they start seeing us, and because they're not all sleeping. I don't even know what a cow looks like sleeping. Supposedly they sleep standing up, but also they may sleep. A lot of them were on where they were prone, right? Where they're on their belly, if you will. Like a dog or a cat with their legs folded up a little bit. I think that's what I recall. Anyway, as we approached, they all started getting up, and they started running, and they were running in a circle to protect each other, I guess, like when you circle the wagons kind of a thing. So we tried to get close, but it was pretty scary to get close to a beast that's, I don't know what, 400, 500, 600 pounds. I have no clue. 2 to 5 times or 2 to 8 times the weight of us at least, right? Probably 10 times the weight of us. So we got close, and then as we kept trying at some point, like laughing, kind of stupid, like little kids. And then all of a sudden, across the street, you hear a noise. And that's the farmer. And he's in his top window of his house. It's like a 2 or 3 story house. I don't know. And he unrolls the window, sticks his shotgun out the window, and he goes, "Get off of my property!" And he blows a shot up into the air, and that made us crap our pants and run. And we did. And we ran, and we got to that car, my stick shift. I jumped in that car, and it was, grinding the gears. We're trying to get out of there. And he didn't chase us. That was more than enough that he did to get us suburban Chicago punks away from his cows. Poor guy. I feel bad about that guy having to deal with that crap. Are we poisoning them? Are we doing untoward things that sick people do? There was a guy I grew up on listening in Chicago radio who used to do segments reading about the farmers caught with animals, if you will. And apparently that was common enough, which is just unbelievably sick. But there it is. So that, or maybe somebody's trying to steal his livestock, who knows. But good for him protecting his property, and we didn't do anything. We ran. So that was my experience. Have you ever tried to go cow tipping? Don't lie to me. And is it even possible? Based on your knowledge, we have people that live in rural Texas or grew up on a farm or have a farm, etc. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Is it even possible to cow tip? And your deadly cow stories or near deadly cow stories, 800-288-WBAP. So this 28-year-old woman died after a cow struck her multiple times as she worked on a farm in New York near the Canadian border, rushed to a hospital but didn't survive. So they're investigating it, the autopsy, blah, blah, blah. But a man who is an agricultural coordinator for the county was shocked that a cow attacked a worker badly enough to kill her. You're dealing with a live animal. Okay, look at it. See, it's 5 to 6 times our weight. You're dealing with a live animal that weighs 1,000 pounds more or more. Sometimes you just can't predict what they may do. It's not something that causes a lot of sorrow. Excuse me. It is. It's not something. It is something that causes a lot of sorrow. That's so funny. It's not something that causes a lot of sorrow. Screw it. She deserves it. No. It's something that has caused a lot of sorrow, and we in agricultural send our condolences to her family and the owners of the dairy farm, of course. One guy says this, commenters, raised on a farm, always knew a cow with a newborn was dangerous. Most times they gave birth indoors in a pen. The calf was removed quickly. But if it was outdoors, it was a different story. Wow. Another one says cows are generally gentle, but never put yourself between a cow and a newborn calf. Well, here's what I will say. If the cow will attack you and kill you with a newborn calf, which is understandable, that if it can kill you for over a newborn calf, it can kill you for other reasons if it wants to. I'm not saying it's a what's it called, sentient being or whatever it's called, where you're conscious of what's going on. And, I'm going to do that to that person. I understand they're one of the dumbest of them all. But God gave them to us to care for them, to grow them up, and to get their milk and to eat them. And they are yummy. We had for Father's Day, we ate at home. We did a Biden Father's Day where we saved money, which is fine. And I had my wife's like, "You want to go out to dinner?" I'm like, no, let's just eat at home, but let's get something I want. So we had steaks. We had T-bones. We had T-bones, and we had asparagus and mushrooms. All in my soda weight loss. What do you want to call it? It's my what I can eat regularly: steak, asparagus, mushrooms, olive oil, salt, pepper. Good stuff. All right, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Did you see, we'll get to this coming up next, Chuck Schumer and his Father's Day post on social media that he deleted? And people went nuts calling him out over it. That's going to be next. But first, let's go to Nathan in Saginaw. You're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, Nathan.
Hey, I was just going to tell you, now I've done a lot of stupid stuff when I was a kid, too. But I used to haul bulls and cows, an 18-wheeler.
That's pretty scary.
Well, I had an experience with that. I'll tell you what, I got lucky one night and I didn't get killed, but I was just going to let you know that farmer or whoever he was that fired that shot and got you out of his pasture, he did you a great big favor, because those cows, female cows, will kill you just as quick as a bull will.
How so? Did you notice it? Did you see it or did you learn from your experiences transporting them, or what?
Well, when I was transporting them, I had to shut a gate, get them piled in there, and then you shut a gate.
Yep.
With a hinge still. And I was pushing on that, and one of them reared up and kicked that gate and hit me in the forehead and scooted me over, and then it was 2:30 in the morning, and finally somebody hauling sheep came along and... Wait,
were you knocked unconscious?
No, but I was busy as you can be, and then the bulls came into that pen, and knocked that gate over on me to the wall,
Wow.
But I got out of there. I mean, thanks to that guy that came up. But what I was going to say, in the open field, those cows,
mm-hmm.
typically they're scared of you, and everything. But if they get too scared, they'll charge you. And I'll tell you what, you get 1,000 pounds butting you in the gut.
Yeah.
That you guys could have been in some serious trouble.
I agree. It was very scary getting close to them, because even though they're thought to be, by ignoramuses like myself, thought to be docile, if it feels threatened by you, it's got to do something. I mean, that's a normal thing that anybody would expect. So I remember being terrified by those things coming towards us, and I'm like, and the more they kept circling, the more they were getting a little more aggressive, understandably so. So it was
exactly right. You're exactly right about that,
man. Yeah, and that farmer, you're probably right. He probably saved us, and not only that, but he had every right to do it. And even though, I'm sure Wisconsin law is the same, you don't shoot warning shots. But when you're in a rural area and you're protecting your farmland, that's not a problem. That's good. You don't want to shoot at people if you can help it. That's how a farmer and a rural person would expect. I would expect to cover their property. But anyways, good times, man. Yeah.
If he got really serious, he'd have come downstairs and and got on you.
Yeah.
He was trying to scare you away.
And he did a great job. And there was no harm to his folks other than his animals getting their adrenaline up, and him having a shot. He wasted it. He didn't waste it. He had to use a shot. But good for that man. Amen. All right, Nathan, thank you.
He spent 10 cents to save your life, is what he did.
That's exactly right. And I agree. Thanks for your call, man.
All right, you too, man.
I still remember that sound of the clutch to this day. You know what it sounds like when you're grinding the gears trying to shift in there, and you don't have your clutch down? Oh, dude. Yeah. Stupid things that people do when they're younger. Okay, next. Chuck Schumer was called out so badly on his Father's Day post that he deleted it. So that's got to be pretty bad, right? I'll tell you all about it next to the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Chuck Schumer deleted his cringeworthy Father's Day photo after conservatives ripped his grilling skills, says Fox News. E. coli with cheese. What are they talking about? Chuck Schumer tweeted out Father's Day heaven, ! in the now deleted post. Here's the problem. Well, here's what he wrote. Our family has lived in an apartment building for all our years, but my daughter and her wife just bought a house with a backyard, and for the first time we're having a barbecue with hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill. Father's Day heaven. But it was immediately criticized because he was accused of placing cheese on one of the burger patties prematurely and not knowing how to properly grill the burger. Chuck is making E. coli with cheese, says one person. You put cheese on a raw patty. Another guy says, y'all are so bad at pretending to be normal human beings. And that's true. Now, I want to ask you this. The line's wide open for you. We have time to take your calls, but call in now at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Is it normal to grill with putting a raw burger on the grill? That's normal, right? But is it normal to put a piece of cheese on it right then and there when it's raw? That's what he did. And that's my question for you at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Is that what you do? Is it normal? Is there any procedure you've ever heard of with grilling hamburgers to actually put cheese on a raw patty that's sitting on the grill? Like Chuck did? Is that normal? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Or do you believe it's true that he's so out of touch that he has no idea how to do it properly? I mean, look, I suck at grilling, but even I know I've grilled hamburgers for years. I could probably do a moderately decent job of it. I'm not that bad, but I'm not even near what the average guy is that's pretty good at it. I'm not. I'm like average at best. So, but you always put it on at the end. I mean, it's ridiculous. You put it on right about 30 seconds before you're going to take it off the grill because you want it to melt on there, but you don't want it to melt more and drip off there, and then it's all half of it's gone. This is not hard. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Is there any procedure when you're grilling a burger that you've ever heard of that puts the cheese on while the meat is raw as it put on the grill? Is that ever anything you've ever seen? Is there any excuse for this? 800-288-WBAP. I get that you're playing to the masses, but literally no one puts cheese on a raw beef patty. Posted Don Jr., Donald Trump Jr. If you need help learning how to do basic grilling stuff, let me know. Nice try to relating, though. Communist, I guess he put. I don't know. He eventually deleted the post, Schumer did, which had been, quote, ratioed by conservative accounts. What does that mean, ratioed? What does that mean? You know what that means, Producer Gary? You're laughing. Being based? Okay, my comments gets more likes than your comment. Okay, so in other words, the people were liking their attacks of Schumer more than they were liking Chuck Schumer's fake picture. This is just like do you remember Elizabeth Warren? Do you remember Pocahontas? When Pocahontas, she was in the kitchen and she said, hey, you want to have a beer? Let's have a beer. Come on, let's have a beer. Let me go over here to my $20,000 refrigerator and pull out a beer. Let's have a beer. And then she got a bottle opener, and she got a frosty mug from her $20,000 Sub-Zero or Wolf refrigerator, and she pulled out a frosty mug, and she had a beer with you. Remember that? Let's have a beer. You want to have a beer? This woman doesn't know her, you know what, from a hole in the ground when it comes to having a beer. Keith the Nasal, maybe Chuck is accurate. Let's hear what Keith says. The Nasal, you're on 820 AM and now 93.3 FM WBAP.
Good evening.
Good evening.
if you'll take a look at that picture of Chuck Schumer barbecuing, look at the knobs, and they're all turned to 0.
Oh my gosh! Hold on, I gotta scroll down.
He's not even cooking.
Oh my gosh, he's so out of touch. He can't even make a fake picture. He can't even. He's so out of touch. He can't even pretend properly that he's grilling. Is that what you're saying to me?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Like he has. Oh my gosh! I'm looking at it. Okay, I'm looking at the knobs. Well, one looks like it's kind of on. The other two, there's two that are looked down. They're like at low, and there's one in the middle that's looks like it's off. I don't even know. I see no smoke, though. I see no smoke.
It's not cooking.
Wow. All right, Keith, so is it normal to put cheese on a raw patty on the grill?
That's kind of stupid.
It is very stupid. Thank you, Keith. Is this kind of stupid? Is this kind of like how his politics ended up working out like that, right? Is that it?
But, Schumer and Pelosi scare the fire out of me anyway.
Yes, they do. There you go. They whiz in your fire. Appreciate your call, my friend. Great call. Great way to end the hour. 820 WBAP News Talk, 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.